That promise of lifelong service I renew to you all for her love, affection, guidance, understanding, and example. And she is mourned
At 76, King Charles is renewing that promise of lifelong service to all, and along with it, is revealing a truth he has kept buried for decades, one that is nothing short of heartbreaking. In a rare and emotional confession, the monarch has opened up about the real love of his life, a woman who changed everything but could never truly be his. Behind the staged smiles, royal protocols, and years of speculation lies a story of forbidden love, missed chances, and enduring regret. Now, for the first time, the king's deepest secret is laid bare. So who was the true love of King Charles's life? The answer may surprise you. His life has been shaped by love, duty, and the heavy shadow of royal expectations. Long before he was crowned King Charles III, the young Prince of Wales lived a life defined by tradition, privilege, and a yearning for love that often clashed with the demands of royalty. In his 20s, Charles found himself caught in a string of romantic encounters, each one influenced by societal pressures and the ever-watchful eyes of his great-uncle and mentor, Lord Louis Mountbatten. Mountbatten, a man well-versed in the burdens of royalty, gave Charles candid advice that broke from the genteel norms of crown and court. In a letter dated July 9, 1974, Mountbatten encouraged his great-nephew to enjoy his youth, urging him to sow his wild oats while he had the chance and to savor romantic freedom before embracing the lifelong commitment of marriage. Yet he also offered a warning: when the time came to choose a bride, it must be a careful decision. The woman must be attractive and kind, but more importantly, she should be free from serious romantic entanglements. It was advice Charles appeared to take seriously. Throughout the 1970s, he was romantically linked to more than 20 women. Some relationships were fleeting, mere dances through the glittering halls of high society, while others left a lasting impact on both Charles and the women involved. Still, behind the public fascination with his love life, one question lingered: who was the one? The woman who could capture his heart and withstand the immense weight of royal life. In a rare BBC interview later in 1974, Charles spoke openly about the complexities of his position. "This is very difficult," he admitted. "Because when you marry in my position, you're going to marry somebody who perhaps one day is going to become queen." His words revealed the tension he felt, between love and duty, between public expectation and personal longing. "You've got to choose somebody very carefully. Someone pretty special," he added. As Charles navigated this emotional terrain, many of the women in his life seemed as carefully selected as the royal events they attended. According to biographer Christopher Wilson, some were chosen more for their aesthetics and social compatibility than for emotional connection. These women were companions for banquets, dances, and polo matches, individuals who fit the part, even if they didn't have a place in Charles's heart. But there were exceptions. In the late 1960s, while studying at Trinity College, Cambridge, Charles met Lucia Santa Cruz, daughter of the Chilean ambassador to London. Elegant, intelligent, and 5 years his senior, Lucia captured the young prince's heart in a quiet, formative romance. Their relationship, though discreet, left a lasting impression. Lucia wasn't just a fleeting infatuation, she was Charles's first love, a woman who helped shape his earliest ideas of romance and companionship. A cousin would later describe her as the first woman Charles truly loved. And yet, in a twist worthy of fiction, it was Lucia who introduced Charles to another woman, Camilla Shand. Believing that Camilla would be a good match for him, Lucia arranged a meeting that would eventually change the course of royal history. Though her own romance with Charles ended, Lucia remained a trusted and private friend for many years to come. Another key figure in Charles's romantic history was Lady Caroline Longman, a young woman deeply rooted in royal circles. Born into aristocracy, Caroline's connection to the monarchy was undeniable. Her mother, Lady Elizabeth Lambert, had served as a bridesmaid at Queen Elizabeth II's wedding and remained a close friend of the Queen. In fact, the Queen herself became Caroline's godmother. Their relationship, which flourished during the 1970s, appeared almost predestined. They were often seen together at polo matches, Charles galloping across the field as Caroline looked on from the sidelines. They took leisurely drives in his sleek Aston Martin, enjoying rare, unscripted moments of freedom from the rigid world they inhabited. It was a romance defined by mutual understanding and a shared background, the kind of relationship that seemed perfect on paper. Yet despite the comfort and harmony of their relationship, something intangible was missing. Eventually, the connection faded. Whether it was the pressure of royal expectations or the absence of a deeper spark strong enough to defy duty, the end came quietly and without scandal. Yet, their families remained close. Lady Elizabeth Lambert, Caroline's mother, continued to be part of Queen Elizabeth II's trusted inner circle well into her 90s. Interestingly, the Longman family's ties to royalty didn't end with Caroline. Decades later, her sister, Rose Hanbury, would become a prominent figure in British high society, and the subject of royal speculation. As the Marchioness of Cholmondeley, Rose's name surfaced in tabloid rumours in 2022 involving Prince William. Although both parties denied any wrongdoing, the speculation persisted, adding yet another layer of intrigue to the complicated web that often entwines romance and royalty. Each of Charles's early relationships, whether brief or transformative, highlighted the challenging balance he constantly navigated between love, duty, and legacy. Behind palace walls and beyond the tabloid headlines, the future king was simply a young man trying to reconcile personal desires with a destiny shaped long before he had any say in it. But what if the future king's first love was never meant to last? What if she was only a stepping stone to a more fateful royal chapter? And then came the spark that changed everything. Though most people associate Princess Diana or Queen Camilla as Charles's first great love, the truth reaches further back, hidden in quieter moments and unexpected encounters. Still, none of his romances have been as public, as deeply dissected, or as heartbreakingly complex as his relationship with Diana Spencer. Their first meeting wasn't orchestrated under the royal spotlight. It was a late summer day in 1977 at the Spencer family estate in Althorpe, Northamptonshire. The air was thick with the scent of freshly turned earth, mingling with the gentle hum of conversation during a traditional shooting weekend. At 29, Charles hadn't come to meet Diana. He was there to visit her older sister, Sarah Spencer, whom he was casually dating at the time. Amid the gathering of nobles and aristocrats, dressed in their countryside best, a 16-year-old Diana quietly caught his attention. She was full of energy, radiating a natural warmth that stood away from the crowd. Despite the 13-year age difference, but for Charles was struck by her presence. For during the visit, it was a flicker of Diana that would later grow into much collection, a polite excuse. At the time, however, he remained involved with Sarah. Their relationship appeared solid enough to the public. Photos of them skiing in Switzerland painted the image of a blossoming romance. The idea of a future with Diana seemed improbable. But fate, as it often does in royal stories, had other plans. In a bold and candid interview, Sarah Spencer would later declare that she would never marry Charles, stating bluntly that she wouldn't marry anyone she didn't love. Her remarks effectively ended their relationship, and unintentionally cleared the path for her younger sister. Still, Diana and Charles remained distant for a time. It wasn't until Charles's 30th birthday celebration in 1978 that their paths crossed again. Though they shared the same room, their interaction was minimal. But the memory of that day lingered, quiet and unresolved. Everything changed in 1979. During another social event hosted by their mutual friend, Philip de Pass, tragedy struck. Charles received devastating news. Lord Louis Mountbatten, his beloved great-uncle and guiding mentor, had been killed in an II bombing off the coast of Mullaghmore, Ireland. The loss was deeply personal, leaving Charles shattered and emotionally vulnerable. In that moment of grief, Diana did something few others dared to do. She approached him not with formality or pretense, but with simple, heartfelt sympathy. She offered her condolences with gentle sincerity, not to impress, but simply to comfort. That quiet act of compassion touched something deep within Charles. For the first time, he saw Diana not just as Sarah's younger sister, but as someone possessing emotional intelligence, empathy, and genuine care. That night marked a shift between them. Something new began to stir. But what was it? Was it the beginning of love, or a bond born from shared sorrow? A connection forged not in passion, but in pain? Only time would reveal the truth. Their journey, still uncertain and veiled in the mystique of royal life, had only just begun. Comfort on a sorrowful evening slowly grew into something that looked and felt like love, or at least the beginnings of it. Diana Spencer, with her shy smile and tender heart, had unknowingly stepped into a whirlwind she could neither prepare for nor fully understand. Prince Charles, feeling the weight of his royal duty and the fresh wound of losing his beloved mentor, Lord Mountbatten, began to see Diana not just as a sweet-natured girl but as someone he might build a future with. Charles invited Diana into his world, gradually weaving her into royal traditions with careful intent. One of the first places he took her was Balmoral Castle in Scotland, a place not only sacred to the royal family but also deeply personal to Charles himself. There, under the endless Scottish skies, they fished together, walked through ancient hills, and spent time with his family. It was Charles's quiet way of saying, "This could be your world too." The world watched, captivated, as their relationship unfolded like a fairy tale. By February 24, 1981, their love story reached a milestone. Their engagement was officially announced from Buckingham Palace. Diana, glowing with happiness in a cobalt blue suit that matched her iconic sapphire ring, called Charles "pretty amazing" in their first joint interview. Charles returned the compliment with a smile, expressing how delighted he was that she had said yes. Yet, behind his smile, there was a flicker, a pause, an emotion left unsaid. Charles had planned his proposal with typical precision, choosing a quiet dinner at the palace to ask Diana. He thought he was giving her time to consider the decision by arranging a trip for her to Australia afterward. But Diana didn't need it. She said yes on the spot, ready to leave her life in Kensington with her flatmates and step into the history books. Her engagement ring, a 12-carat sapphire surrounded by 14 diamonds, became a symbol not only of their union but also of her independence. Unlike a traditional royal piece, it was a catalogue selection from Gerard, inspired by the sapphire brooch Prince Albert once gave Queen Victoria in 1840. The ring carried echoes of the past, yet with a bold sense of modernity. However, not everything in their engagement was as flawless as the sparkle of her ring. During the same interview, a journalist asked the couple a simple question: "Are you in love?" Diana, ever the optimist, instantly replied, "Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Charles followed with an answer that would echo through time: "Whatever in love means." At the time, it seemed like a small, curious choice of words, but for Diana, something inside her shifted. A part of her began to question everything. In later years, Diana's own voice, through secretly recorded tapes published in Andrew Morton's Diana, Her True Story in 1992, revealed that the doubts had been there long before the wedding. She tried to ignore them, to brush them away like cold raindrops on a summer morning, but the doubts kept falling. Then came the bracelet. Just days before the wedding, Diana stumbled across a gift meant not for her, but for Camilla Parker Bowles, Charles's former flame. The bracelet, engraved with the affectionate initials, GF, and FF, nicknames they had shared, shattered Diana's trust. It wasn't just about the bracelet, it symbolized that Camilla hadn't been left behind. Diana realized that Charles's heart might still be partially claimed by her. Diana was furious. She was heartbroken. She wanted to call off the wedding, to vanish before the cathedral doors ever opened. But she didn't. Her sisters wouldn't let her. "Too late to check out now," they told her. "The invitations have been sent. The world is watching. And the dress, oh, the dress is waiting." So, on July 29, 1981, under the gaze of nearly 1 billion people worldwide, Diana married the Prince of Wales at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. It was the first time in 3 centuries that a British woman had married a future king. The ceremony cost nearly $48 million, but no price tag could match the image of Diana stepping from her carriage, wrapped in an ivory silk taffeta gown designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel. The dress, embellished with over 10,000 pearls and a 25-foot train, was as dramatic as the moment itself. On her head, the Spencer tiara, worn by her sisters before her, sparkled like a crown of stars. There were tiny slip-ups, real human moments, that made the ceremony even more unforgettable. Diana nervously reversed Charles's names in her vows, calling him Philip Charles instead of Charles Philip Arthur George. Charles, too, stumbled slightly, saying "thy goods" instead of "my worldly goods." And in the rush of royal choreography, he forgot to kiss her at the altar. The world gasped, but all was forgiven when they stepped onto the Buckingham Palace balcony and shared a tender kiss for the cheering crowd of over 600,000
Back in London,
gathered
Diana
below.
was no longer just
After
Lady
the
Diana
grandeur of
Spencer.
their wedding, Diana
She
and
had become
Charles
the
embarked
Princess
on a
of Wales,
dreamlike escape,
and her life
a
had
12-day
changed
honeymoon
forever.
aboard the Royal Yacht
Her
Britannia.
first major public appearance
They
as a
sailed
royal
to the
came
Greek
at the state
islands and
opening
Egypt,
of Parliament,
soaking in
a
the
moment
beauty
that
and
marked her
romance of the
official
journey
entry
into the world of duty.
Later,
Tradition,
they retreated
and the
once more to the
unrelenting
public
public
scrutiny
countryside
that
would follow.
this time to a secluded
To the
hunting
outside
lodge.
world, it all appeared
Diana,
to be a
in a
fairy
letter
tale
to her
come to life,
secretary, a princess
described it as
crowned with
flawless,
jewels,
adored by millions. But behind the palace gates, Diana's world was falling apart. Not long after their honeymoon, Diana discovered she was pregnant. While the world celebrated, she felt overwhelmed and uncertain of her place in the royal family. In a moment of despair, she threw herself down a flight of stairs. Miraculously, both she and the baby were unharmed. Then, on June 21, 1982, joy arrived when Diana gave birth to Prince William at St. Mary's Hospital in London. This birth was a break from tradition. Not only did it take place outside the palace walls, but Prince Charles was also present in the delivery room, something rare for royal fathers. Diana later expressed her gratitude for having him by her side during the birth, and for a while, it seemed their love might blossom once more. Soon after, Diana became pregnant with their second child. But as her belly grew, so did the distance between her and Charles. When they learned they were expecting another boy, Charles couldn't hide his disappointment. He had hoped for a daughter. Still, on September 15, 1984, Prince Harry was born, and the world smiled. But inside the marriage, things were already beginning to unravel. By 1989, Diana was reaching her breaking point. Charles had reignited his relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, and Diana was heartbroken. In a moment of courage, she confronted Camilla at a birthday party. It was a brave act, but it changed nothing.